NANA Queerbait? I often find this question floating around the NANA community, and I get it. The electric chemistry, boundless devotion, and poignant yearning makes it nearly impossible to ignore the intimate connection between Nana Komatsu and Nana Osaki.
I don't really know how to explain it, but when I was shaking Nana's hand, I felt this warmth that went straight to my heart.
So I can understand why the aforementioned question is asked when we see Nana and Hachi clearly expressing affection for each other, all the while engaging in romantic relationships with men and never seeing their relationship transcend into something explicitly romantic. So let's talk about it. But first, what is queerbaiting? Queerbaiting is when writers or creators hint at LGBTQ+ representation, particularly LGBTQ+ romance in a work of fiction, without ever actually depicting or solidifying any LGBTQ+ elements in the work. The reason queerbaiting is often received negatively is because creators are looking to engage a queer audience by teasing queer characters and/or themes without ever meaningfully engaging with those queer themes as to not isolate the straights. Queerbaiting should not be confused with queer coding, which is when writers and creators affix a character with traits that are stereotypically queer without drawing explicit attention to that character's sexual orientation, identity, or gender. This comes with its own set of issues because queer coding reduces its LGBTQ+ representation to stereotypes and leaves the identity, sexual orientation, and/or gender of LGBTQ+ characters implied rather than explicit. Think how Disney queer codes its villains by relying on queer stereotypes that will ultimately draw a negative inference to behaviors, aesthetics, and characteristics often associated with the LGBTQ+ community.
And don't underestimate the importance of body language.
Where queer baiting and queer coding overlap is that the queerness of its characters exists in subtext and is never confirmed in the text. So now that we have empowered ourselves with all this knowledge, is NANA queerbait?
If Nana was a guy, she'd be the love of my life.
Well, Ai Aizawa definitely plays with the line between platonic and romantic love. As for Hachi and Nana, we see them engaging in behaviors that are typical of queerbait. They have an intense friendship that includes holding hands, snuggling in bed, they are overprotective of the other, they even share a memorable kiss. But they engage in relationships with men and never end up in a relationship together or experiencing any revelations about their sexual identity. I think the reason Nana is often accused of queerbaiting is because the way queerbaiting is often achieved is to suggest to fans who want to see queer representation that a queer romance is possible and will evolve from subtext to text, only for this to never happen. Queerbaiting will often go a step further by denying the queerness in the text, usually in the form of denying the characters ending up together and attempting to erase the queerness by no-homoing the characters through heterosexual relationships. The effect, whether intentional or unintentional, makes the audience feel like they're being laughed at for thinking there was any queerness in the story at all. Since textual confirmation of any queerness existing between Nana and Hachi is withheld from us and they engage in relationships with men, I can't criticize someone for thinking that Nana feels very queerbaity. However, I would like to take a moment to compare Nana, whose original run in the manga began in the year 2000, to the series Yuri on Ice, an anime which began airing in 2016.
Yes, we were born to make history.
For those not in the know, Yuri on Ice follows the story of figure skater Yuri Katsuki and his relationship with world-renowned figure skater Victor Nikiforov, as Victor embarks on coaching Yuri to take the top prize at the next Grand Prix. Victor and Yuri hold hands, share a bed, exchange longing looks, bathe together, make public declarations about their love for one another. They even exchange matching rings. However, neither of them have their big gay moment where they explicitly announce their sexuality. Yuri even mentions that he used to have a crush on his childhood friend Yuko. Although a few notable critics have criticized Yuri on Ice for queerbaiting upon its release, I feel like in recent years this criticism has subsided. It is widely accepted that Yuri and Victor transcend being friends, transcend being student and teacher, and are a romantic couple. The series has even been praised for its queer representation because it has gay characters in a story that wasn't centered on their gayness or fetishizes their relationship, freeing Victor and Yuri to exist as themselves and develop as characters first and as a queer couple second. Which is why Yuri on Ice is classified as a sports anime that happens to have queer characters versus a straight-up yaoi anime. I think the reason why Yuri on Ice has overcome its accusations of queerbaiting is because it very much makes the queer feelings between Yuri and Victor text. Although Yuri and Victor don't turn to the camera to declare they are gay men in a gay relationship, their queerness manifests itself in their mannerisms, interactions, even in the company they keep, but especially in the evolution of their relationship. And by the end of the series, as Yuri and Victor flaunt matching rings and skate with one another in perfect unison, it's clear these two are riding off in the sunset together. Thus, their relationship is confirmed in text, and we can once and for all deem Yuri on Ice is not queerbait. At least when it comes to the way I interpret the law on queerbaiting. When comparing how queerness is represented in Yuri on Ice to NANA, we see quite a few similarities. NANA and Hachi hold hands, share a bed, exchange longing looks, bathe together, kiss, which, unlike the one between Yuri and Victor, is explicitly shown. They make public declarations about their love for one another, they even have matching rings. And just like Yuri and Victor, neither NANA or Hachi have their big gay moment when they explicitly announce their sexuality. The biggest difference between NANA and Hachi and Victor and Yuri is that NANA and Hachi engage in romantic relationships with men. To which I must query, do you think they're happy about that?
Now, there's only one thing I regret. Hey, Hachi, I wonder, are you happy now?
If you were introduced to NANA through clips and images with the promise of a woman who loved women's story, you're probably going to be underwhelmed by how things shake out between our two leads. And personally, I'm hesitant to call NANA a woman who loved women's story. I would also be hesitant to call NANA a woman who loved men's story since there is very little romance between men and women in this series. So even though NANA was published in Sue Ishida's monthly shoujo magazine Cookie, and shoujo is primarily, yet not exclusively, associated with the romance genre, I feel that NANA more aptly falls into the slice of life genre. It's a series where we follow our two heroines as they navigate work, friendship, and of course love as NANA and Hachi embark on life as new adults. And although there is a focus on NANA and Hachi's romantic relationships with men, it's never the central thrust of the story. I mean, the series is called NANA for a reason. And I think a lot of individuals who are attracted to multiple genders will agree with me that just because NANA and Hachi have relationships with men doesn't mean they're not queer.
I like the wine and not the label. Does that make sense?
Yes.
My point is, the spectrum of queer is vast and nuanced, which is why we shouldn't solely base a person's sexual orientation on the gender or sexual orientation of their current partner. The other big difference between Yuri on Ice and NANA is that Yuri on Ice ends with Yuri and Victor cementing their relationship through their mutual love of figure skating. Something notable because Victor and Yuri come from countries with a difficult relationship with the LGBTQ+ community, and, at least to my knowledge, two men have never figure skated together in an exhibition. The queerness of Yuri and Victor's relationship is thus confirmed through this visual representation, bathed under romantic light. And that's the problem with NANA. NANA has been put on indefinite hiatus since 2009 because its creator, Ai Aizawa, has been diagnosed with an unspecified medical issue that has prevented her from completing the series, leaving readers with several unsolved mysteries.
With the box? What was in the box? What's in the box? What's in the fucking box?
The greatest mystery of all is how the final pages will resolve NANA and Hachi's relationship. But even without an ending, even without either NANA or Hachi confirming their sexuality, I do think there's enough in-text evidence that Nana Komatsu and Nana Osaki are somewhere on the spectrum of queer and that their friendship isn't 100% platonic. I have already covered the events in the anime, which is roughly chapters 0 to 42 in my previous videos, and I will now be turning my queer lens to the remaining 42 chapters of manga. So if you haven't read NANA, if maybe you are an anime only, if any of this has turned you on to reading the back half of NANA, I recommend you do that. This video will be here waiting for you when you're ready. If you haven't read the back half of NANA and don't care about being spoiled, you are of course welcome to stay, but this video will by no means encompass everything in the manga, and you will, unfortunately, be experiencing these events for the first time through my very limited lens. If you want the full NANA experience, I highly recommend you read the manga. Are we all on the same page? Alright. Awesome. Hachi arrives at her swanky Shirogane apartment after the firework festival and is met by Takumi. Takumi is vexed that Hachi had the gall to tell him that she was going to see Nobu, but Hachi explains that Nobu wasn't even there and how, although she was happy to see Nana, there was some distance between them and she feels naive to believe they could ever be friends like they used to. This distance Hachi feels is worth remarking upon because as a friend, I think Nana hit all the check marks. She voiced support for Hachi's engagement, even offered to sing at the wedding if that's something Hachi would want, and monologued about how important it is that Hachi is happy. But if you're reading this through a sapphic lens, the reason Hachi feels this distance between her and Nana is because the scene at the firework festival very much feels like Nana is letting go of her romantic pursuit of Hachi so Hachi can be happy with Takumi. That is the distance Hachi feels. Nana is letting go of all those promises to get them a big house with a yard so they can live together by the sea. Also, Hachi can be happy with Takumi and her baby. When Hachi tells Takumi that she wants to invite Nana to the wedding, Takumi decides that this is the time to tell his pregnant fiancé that actually they need to postpone the wedding. The reason for this is because since Ren is the bigger star and because his relationship with Nana has drawn interest from the media that has translated into greater interest in Trap Nest, Cookie Music, the record label that owns and distributes Trap Nest music, has decided to capitalize on Nana and Ren's relationship and publicly announce their engagement.
Narita believes that if Ren publicly declares that he loves Nana, it'll look like Blast made it big off of our coattails. Then this whole stupid circus can be put to rest.
You're making him get married to protect yourself. You're such a bastard!
Hey, whatever you think about me is in no way related to the problems Ren's gotten himself into. This is a business we're talking about here.
And although Takumi got engaged first, he and the label have determined that it would be bad for business if Ren and Takumi got married back to back, cutting off that oh-so-coveted teenage girl fan base from fantasizing about Takumi and Ren picking them out of the crowd and falling madly in love with them. Oh, and also because Reira isn't too happy about Takumi getting married, and Takumi doesn't want to piss her off and have her withhold her precious singing voice out of spite.
Well then, I'd like to point this out strictly from a business point of view. As Narita said himself, the core of our fan base is teenage girls. With that in mind, I don't think you and Ren getting married one after the other is such a good idea.
I get it. It's better if only Ren got married.
Takumi is a bit surprised when Hachi is very much okay with them postponing their wedding. I mean, she's not jumping for joy, but she's happy to put Nana's big romantic happy ending ahead of hers, as we can see in this lovely panel. And if you're looking for a happy ending to Nana, do not proceed any further, this is your final stop. Hachi also understands that Nana may abort the engagement to Ren if it means sacrificing her wedding to Takumi. So Hachi and Takumi agree to come up with an excuse to tell Nana and Ren why their wedding is postponed. I find all of this fascinating because both Nana and Hachi aren't exactly enthralled with the idea of marrying their male partners, and both Nana and Hachi want to believe the other is secure in their romantic relationship and are making concessions for the other to live their happily ever after. Yet we as readers know that's not the case. Hachi is noticeably more upset about the distance between herself and Nana compared to Takumi postponing their wedding, while Nana is suspiciously silent about her engagement to Ren and treating it like a death sentence. Maybe it's the notable silence surrounding Nana and Ren's relationship milestone that prompts Takumi to nag Ren about giving Nana the ring to make the engagement official.
When he shows that ring to Nana, she'll lose the attitude and jump happily into his arms. There's nothing to worry about.
Adding to this push is Trap Nest agency Cookie Music and Blast's agency Gaia, who have arranged for Nana and Ren to announce their pending nuptials during a televised interview. Nana is less than thrilled about this. She confides in Yasu that she's thinking about marrying Ren. Yasu is happy to hear this, even complimenting Nana on how it's nice to see her stubborn when it comes to Ren. However, Nana goes on to say that the only reason she's stubborn about Ren is that she's afraid of herself. And she hopes that if she ends up married to Ren, she will become more emotionally stable, become normal friends with Hachi again, and will stop having those horrible attacks. Yasu passes a silent look of despair that goes unnoticed by Nana. A look not unlike the look he gives when Nana came to him when she found out Hachi was pregnant and struggled to understand her relationship with Hachi, her hatred toward Takumi, and struggled to understand herself.
Is everything okay, Nana?
Huh? What do you mean? I'm just fine. I'm not that messed up, dude. I'm serious. I'll be fine. I still don't quite understand what being a real friend is all about. But no matter what Hachi decides to do, I won't get in the way, and I'll gently watch over her.
The vibe in both these scenes, to me at least, is that Yasu is wise to Nana's romantic feelings for Hachi and is conflicted in saying or doing anything to validate those feelings out of loyalty to Ren. The fact Nana tells Yasu she hopes getting married to Ren will help with her emotional instability, her anxiety attacks, and to be normal friends with Hachi dangles the question, what isn't normal about her relationship with Hachi, and why does it cause her so much anxiety? It very well may be that Nana is just super possessive about her best friend in a totally heterosexual way, but rather than Nana being this hysterical, crazy lady, I think it makes the story stronger if you read this as Nana harboring non-heterosexual feelings toward Hachi, and Nana has so much anxiety about facing the reality of those feelings that she's resorting to marrying Ren to hopefully reinforce her straightness. The lack of enthusiasm Nana had when Ren proposed,
Will you marry me?
No way.
paired with the lack of enthusiasm she has about making her engagement to Ren public, indicates to me that Nana's heart isn't in her relationship with Ren, particularly since Nana rounds out this conversation with Yasu by saying she doesn't want to be a burden on him and Nobu anymore. Although we are not hit over the head with this detail, we don't see Nana actually saying the reason she wants to marry Ren is because she loves him and wants to marry him. Rather, that she feels this overwhelming pressure that her anxiety, mental health, and friendships will improve if she stays in her relationship with Ren. This pressure is amplified when Gaia Records informs Nana that they want to announce the release date of last album and her engagement to Ren at the upcoming press conference. When Nana answers this news with a painful silence, Shin points out that engagements are a cause for celebration, so why isn't everyone happy? Why indeed, Shin? Why indeed?
That fool really went too far this time. I definitely won't marry him.
In Hachi's narration at the start of the chapter, she reveals that on the surface, Nana had all the things a girl should want. Good looks, talent, friends, a belief in fate. Hachi believed that when she sent Nana a letter congratulating her on getting engaged to Ren, that Nana was in total bliss. However, Nana admits to herself that even though she's getting married, she's kinda depressed. Nana and Ren are brought into a meeting with the president of Cookie Music and Gaia Records, where they're given the blessing of the media moguls. Narita and Nishimoto have even signed Nana and Ren's marriage registration form as witnesses. They spew lines about how Nana and Ren's union will make all of Japan swoon at the strength of their bond and how they've overcome so much adversity. Nana and Ren pull these faces, indicating that although this summary of their relationship is romantic, it's corny and shallow and doesn't speak to reality. Nana and Ren are then pressured to sign their marriage registration forms right then and there. But Nana and Ren slow down the process because neither of them know their legal domicile. This causes some friction with the record labels because they want to capitalize on Nana and Ren's popularity by pushing forward with their marriage. But while they are waiting to get copies of their family registries, both Gaia and Cookie have arranged for Nana and Ren to live together in a luxury hotel suite. Nana's brat routine is in full force. She complains about the hotel, she spits facts about how obvious Gaia and Cookie are in pushing her and Ren together to cash in on record sales, and of course she complains about Ren. But when Ren reveals a secret surprise that he has an engagement ring for her, and it's the same one that Hachi is wearing, Nana melts. And I want to spend a little time examining why. Although many a betrothed person has swooned at the sight of their engagement ring, I think it's fair to suggest that Ren's proposal wasn't the stuff of romance stories.
To know, will you marry me?
No way.
If you won't, I know I'll die.
Then go die by yourself.
No way, I'm taking you with me.
Then just kill me.
So, it's possible Nana just really loves the ring and Ren's proposal has swept her off her feet, but what we know for certain is that Nana values this ring because it matches Hachi's. Hell, even Ren and Takumi recognize this fact.
What kind of ring did you get, Hachiko, and where can I buy one?
Nana describes their matching rings as a symbol of love that means so much in so many ways. What those ways are remains a mystery, and while that love could be platonic, a totally platonic heterosexual interpretation is only a singular expression of love that fails to mean so much in so many ways. Conversely, a queer interpretation is that this love that means so much in so many ways covers the spectrum of the many different types of love. Different cultures have varying interpretations of what those types of love are, but broadly speaking, they include but are not limited to romantic love, sexual love, obsessive love, love between friends, love of thine own self, love between family, and unconditional love.
No matter what kind of life you choose to live, as long as you're happy, it'll be fine with me. I might never truly believe that with all of my heart, but still, I at least want it to appear strong and elegant in your eyes. Just like a manga heroine who's too perfect to be real.
Whether or not NANA sees their engagement rings as encompassing all the types of love or only a few of them, NANA is not alone in believing that there is a deep symbolic meaning to their matching rings. Hachi states that NANA was the person who made her believe in fate, and whenever she feared the red string of fate that binds them together would break, it would be held together by their matching engagement rings. This isn't the first time the red string of fate is brought up in NANA.
Hey, what do you mean by a string tying a vow?
What? You don't get it?
No?
It's the invisible thread that binds you to your fated lover, and it's tied around your little finger.
Whoa, I bet that's the sort of stuff girls really fall for.
But I don't really believe that fate controls who and how we love. I like to think that people are bound by trust. It doesn't matter what kind of relationship they're in.
This is a legend that is referred to as the red string of marriage. However, there are interpretations this myth can be platonic. So invoking the red string of fate in the context of NANA and Hachi's relationship doesn't necessarily indicate that their relationship is romantic. But when we pair the myth of the red string of fate to the matching engagement rings, I think it's more than fair to see queer symbolism. NANA and Hachi are soulmates connected by the red string of fate, and the manifestation of their bond, of their multifaceted love, is through their matching engagement rings. After all, what's more romantic than falling in love with your best friend? So even though you can read a totally platonic meaning into the significance of both women sporting matching engagement rings, I feel like you'll be doing a lot of mental gymnastics to ignore all the very queer signifiers. But you do you, boo. NANA and Ren's dynamic during the press conference swings from being robotic and scripted to a bickering married couple who haven't knocked boots in decades. Hachi videotapes the press conference and watches it over and over. She swoons as Ren says that he hopes this engagement puts the rumors about the legitimacy about their relationship to rest, and then howls with laughter as NANA pushes back against questions about how Ren proposed. This always reads a little sad to me because Ren lies and says he proposed by asking NANA to be with him forever. However, we know that's not what happened. NANA sticks to the truth, saying that she told Ren, no way. Ren snaps at her to shut up, possibly because this ruins the romantic portrait of himself he's trying to paint, maybe because he's afraid of what else NANA will say on national television. But Hachi's quiet evening alone at home comes to an abrupt halt when she gets a call from Naoki and Reira. They invite Hachi to a birthday party for Reira and Shin. Hachi feels ambushed by the invitation and promises to come, especially to support Shin. But there's a problem. Takumi has no idea that Hachi will be at the party. Naoki picks Hachi up for her big night out and mentions that the party is actually more of an engagement party for NANA and Ren disguised as a joint birthday party for Reira and Shin. Hachi panics. Although she's thrilled at the prospect of seeing NANA, she starts spiraling when she thinks the reason NANA didn't invite her to the party was out of consideration for Nobu. Of course, that isn't the case. Nobu is glad that Hachi came to support Shin, though he tells her this via text, not with actual words, because he has started a flirtation with a vibrant and attractive adult film actress named Yuri Kosaka.
Oh my god, she's the hottest chick I've ever seen!
Hachi barely gets a hello out of her mouth when Takumi grabs her, throws her into an empty room, and yells at her about showing up to the party. Hachi apologizes and says she was put in a situation where she felt she couldn't say no, and promises not to talk to Nobu. Takumi makes her feel dumb by saying that all she thinks about is romances and affairs, and the reason he's upset is because this isn't a party for him. It's work and no one knows that they're together, so we can't have her hanging around. Yeah, this is total BS. Takumi just wants to keep Hachi isolated and doesn't want people to know he has a pregnant fiancé so he can keep up appearances that he's single. Ugh. Now that he has sufficiently verbally abused his partner, Takumi leaves Hachi crying and feeling foolish. But now he tracks them down with Yasu in tow. When Takumi says that Hachi is going home, Yasu says that Hachi is their guest and he won't let him control things anymore. This irritates Takumi because someone is finally standing up to him. And for the first time since Nana threw fists at Shoji to protect her honor, Hachi has someone show her that the way men are treating her is not okay. Hachi looks as though she's reached a new stage of enlightenment, Yasu not backing down to Takumi and validating that she belongs at this party, that people want her there, validates that those tears she was holding back deserve to fall. Because even though Hachi chose to be with Takumi and doesn't want to regret that decision, the price she has to pay to be with him is becoming very clear how dark it is. Yasu reunites Hachi with Shin and they celebrate his birthday together. Hachi even meets Reira, who thanks her for coming to the party. When Hachi sees how at ease Takumi is around Reira in public, she realizes that Takumi could never treasure anyone or anything deeply. And, ain't that the truth? Hachi inquires after Nana's whereabouts, to which Yasu suspects she and Ren snuck off to one of the rooms at the venue, which is indeed what happened. Nana is hiding out in one of the rooms because of how annoying it is that no one is really celebrating Reira or Shin's birthday or even discussing their debut album. All everyone seems to care about is her engagement to Ren. When Ren asks if she regrets anything, Nana remains quiet and flashes a pensive expression before answering, "No, I do everything for a reason." Maybe the reason is that she really loves Ren. However, if we recount past events, the reason Nana signed to Gaia Records, the reason she is going along with their marketing plan to capitalize on her relationship with Ren, is because if Blast is successful, she will be financially able to liberate Hachi and her baby from Takumi.
My plan was simple. Keep showing Hachi our sweet dreams. And as for Blast, we just had to keep cool and look cool. And that way we'd stick around in Hachi's story. That way, she'd have to come back for sure. That cold-blooded man just takes her for granted. He'll never be able to make our little Hachiko happy.
And what I find especially curious is that after Nana delivers this line about how she does everything for a purpose, upon turning the page, the next panel is literally Hachi writing her name down in the guest book for the party. So even though Nana's reason is not told to us explicitly, it also kinda is. When we return to Nana and Ren is frantic to get Nana to wake up. When she does, Nana immediately questions if Ren is trying to kill her and why there's a tie around her neck. Yeah. So I'm about to discuss intimate partner violence. If you are one of the many persons who have been affected by IPV and don't want to engage in any conversation or depictions that will be triggering, I absolutely understand. You can skip to this timestamp. Because we don't see how all of this played out, it's unclear how Nana ended up passing out with a tie around her neck. What is known is that both Ren and Nana are totally undressed, that they appear to be in the throes of passion, that Nana is fuzzy on the details about how she became unconscious with a tie around her neck, and that Ren vocalizes his fear that he might end up killing her one day. Despite the scene not being shown to us or the characters giving us a blow-by-blow in the details, the implication is that during sex, Ren choked Nana with his tie with so much force that she passed out. Look, I'm all for BDSM. BDSM for all. But given the pieces of information that we have, I'm not comfortable classifying this as an act of BDSM because of the lack of established boundaries and consent. Especially when Nana has expressed previously that she was not into Ren choking her, that he went too far, left her concerned that she was going to die, and the act did nothing to foster any feelings of affection for him.
That fool really went too far this time. I definitely won't marry him.
In this most recent case of intimate partner violence, Nana has no memory of how she passed out and asks Ren if he's trying to kill her. She then whips him with a tie and says he's been very bad in a panel that is meant to be played for laughs. Ren tells Nana that Hachi's at the party, which propels her out of bed and back into her glamorous Vivienne Westwood gown. Before running off to find her girlfriend, Ren tells Nana that he really might kill her one day, answering the question she asked moments ago. Nana says that if he does kill her, she will wait for him by the river Styx, a river in the afterlife that separates the living from the dead. It's fair how some readers might read this recent asphyxiation as consensual. since Nana plays the choking off as a joke and then vows to be with Ren in the afterlife if he happens to kill her. But intimate partner violence is complex, and I think we get hung up on a lot of should behaviors when we think about victims reacting to domestic violence, when in reality, there really isn't any should behaviors. Victims of IPV are trying to survive the chaos of their ever-shifting relationship. So, while yes, Nana should be screaming at Ren that what he did was wrong and he's a horrible person for choking her non-consensually and the engagement is off, realistically, I can kind of understand why Nana might not want to piss off the guy who literally choked her while she was naked and vulnerable, especially when said man is behind her fastening the lock to her choker and saying that he might actually kill her one day. To Nana and to us, Ren is the kind, sweet, sensitive man who gave her a home, who became the closest thing she's known to family, who gave her Blast, who taught her to sing and play guitar, who is the charismatic bad boy of Trap Nest. But because victims don't want to see themselves as victims, they often love their abuser but hate the abuse. By compartmentalizing the abuse and separating it from their partner, they see their relationship as this complicated, multifaceted thing as opposed to simply an abusive relationship. Which becomes easier to do when you literally have the media and record labels pushing the narrative to all of Japan that your struggle love is the stuff of fairy tales, complete with a happy ending. So when Nana tries to play the abuse off as a joke and then soothes Ren's guilty conscience about nearly killing her, I really do see a woman trying to survive in an abusive relationship. And if you're still on the fence about whether or not this constitutes as IPV, we will later see a case of IPV that everyone seems to agree is a clear-cut case of abuse, which hits many of the same beats as this scene with Nana and Ren. What's especially telling to me is that Nana bolts out of that room and spends the remainder of the night avoiding Ren. Nana spins around the enormous venue with a single-minded goal: to find Hachi. When their eyes meet across the crowded room, Nana bursts into a smile we haven't seen in a long, long time. They hold hands, and their matching engagement rings gleam brilliantly in the dimmed light of the party. The chapter ends with Hachi's narration. "Hey Nana, I know I can find you in a crowd no matter what you look like. So no matter how bad a day is, I can't walk around being down. The thing I want most is in your hands." Nana takes Hachi to her hotel room and goes through Ren's pockets to return Hachi's key to apartment 707. Hachi is amazed at how Nana can just go through Ren's pockets, since she fears every time she goes through Takami's pocket she might find evidence he's having an affair. Little does Hachi know that this isn't because Nana and Ren are so solid in their love, as much as it is that Nana would actually be relieved if Ren was sleeping with someone else.
I haven't been with Ren for a month. He's gotta be sleeping with other women by now. Not that I care. I'd actually be relieved.
Even when Hachi asks why Ren has so many keys, Nana jokes in a way that makes me question if it really is a joke. That it's because Ren has so many lady friends, which makes her jealous. I don't want to read too much into this because it is played as a joke, but I can't help but wonder if Nana is jealous of these hypothetical women for seducing Ren, or if she's jealous of Ren for seducing so many women. Hachi gets the key to apartment 707 back in her hands, and she feels the distance between her and Nana shrink. She no longer cares that her wedding has been postponed or her fight with Takami. Hachi even tells Nana that if Takami ever ditched her, she would want to move back to apartment 707, which she notices makes Nana smile and brings a twinkle in her eyes. Nana and Hachi make plans to spend the night together, under the covers of the canopy bed, gabbing about everything and nothing. But this joyous reunion is short-lived. Despite pretending like Hachi doesn't exist when they're in public together, Takami is now on the hunt for Hachi and looks for her in the most logical place: Nana's hotel room. Hachi tells Takami she's sorry, but she's going to do what she wants, and what she wants is to spend the night with Nana. And if he's so ashamed of her existence, she will move out and support herself and the baby without his help. Nana says that Hachi has no reason to apologize, which is correct. But I think it's significant that the moment Hachi has the option to return to apartment 707 with Nana is the moment she gathers the courage to leave Takami. It's not that Nana is fixing Hachi, but Hachi is inspired to fix herself so she can be with Nana. But Takami, being the abusive narcissist he is, sees this spark of empowerment in Hachi and immediately knows he has to isolate her so he can continue controlling her. Hachi hopes that if she can just talk with Takami, he will understand and forgive her for leaving him. So she goes with him, leaving Nana, who feels like Hachi is once again picking Takami over her. As readers, we have the benefit of knowing what's inside Hachi's head. Nana, unfortunately, doesn't, and she has no idea that Hachi actually wants to live with her again in apartment 707 and intends to leave Takumi. And unfortunately, Nana doesn't know just how bad of a guy Takumi is. When Takumi gets Hachi alone in his room, he goes nuts and performs his second act of intimate partner sexual violence. Hachi says that she went along with it not because she wanted to make up with him, but because it would quell his insane frustration and because she didn't want to cause further confrontation that would stir his wrath. This is incredibly heartbreaking. It's sentiments like this that truly capture what it's like to be in an abusive relationship and why it's so difficult for victims to leave. Because when the worst has happened, it's scary to think about what might happen if you upset the person even more. I mean, what's worse than the worst? We flash back to the day Hachi was first sexually assaulted by Takumi, the day Nana broke the strawberry glasses. Hachi remarks how she felt abandoned by everything in the world, not because of Takumi's deplorable behavior, but the emotional devastation of those broken glasses. Hachi then explains why she leans on Takumi so much. He was there to pick her up at her lowest. However, Hachi is perceptive enough to know that Takumi contributed to her being at her lowest, and that he has the power to push her over the edge. This isn't a relationship bound by love, but a relationship that hides the shame of both parties. Marrying Takumi saves Hachi from the moral shame of having an abortion and the societal shame of being an unwed mother. Marrying Takumi also gives Hachi some level of financial security. I know Hachi's decision is frustrating because it's short-sighted. She's exchanging her personal happiness and freedom for financial security and societal acceptance. But I also think that's kind of the point. Nana is riddled with characters who struggle to love themselves and seek validation that they are lovable within romantic relationships. And unfortunately, what they find is that whatever validation another person can offer doesn't fix that broken part inside of them. This little observation of mine is best exemplified when Hachi is offered the opportunity to achieve all the milestones society has told her are necessary to attain happiness. A husband, a home, a baby, financial stability. I can't be mad at Hachi for taking that opportunity, especially when life has taught her that she isn't deserving of happiness. She struggled with school, struggled with love, struggled with work, struggled with her friendships, struggled with herself. Why keep struggling just to suffer? I'm not saying it was the correct decision for Hachi to fly into the golden cage of her abusive relationship with Takumi, but I can follow her logic. It's a better the devil you know than the devil you don't kinda situation. As for Takumi, marrying Hachi and being the absentee father to her child gives him a taste of the family life he never had.
The truth is, my father's an alcoholic. He can't even have a normal conversation with people these days. He didn't go to my sister's wedding, or even to my mother's funeral, for that matter. And I know I don't want to invite him to our wedding. I don't want him to ruin it.
Men like Takumi prey on people's weaknesses, and the reason Takumi picked Hachi up at her lowest and promised to support her and the baby despite not knowing if he was the biological father wasn't done out of the goodness of his heart. Takumi views relationships as transactional and saw an opportunity to possess someone he could control, and what he gives Hachi comes at a price. In exchange for his financial support and the societal benefits of their engagement, Hachi is forced to endure his infidelity, his financial abuse, his emotional and psychological abuse, and his sexual abuse. And Hachi's made to feel like she can't speak or act out against the way he treats her because he's responsible for her financial security, her societal status. And while it's easy to say, fuck financial security, fuck what society thinks, if you've ever had the experience of not being able to afford your rent, to buy groceries, being afraid that your family will disown you because your life choices don't align with their values, you will know that it's not easy to do, especially when you have a solution to all your problems right in front of you. Hachi knows that she can't be with Takumi. The one thought that kept her sane during the first assault was wanting to go back into Nana's room as soon as it was over. It helped her to pretend she enjoyed the assault, even though it was one-sided and painful. But when she left that room and saw the broken strawberry glasses, all that pain she numbed out hit her all at once. She felt abandoned. Takumi even mentions that the way Nana is acting must mean that she's in love with her. Hachi dismisses this, believing she just got in Nana's way and Nana is angry with her. But Takumi persists, saying that Nana is definitely in love with her because she's behaving the same way he would if he felt jilted. Hearing that Nana is actually in love with her from another person brings Hachi to tears. Perhaps it validates the thoughts and feelings Hachi has held within her for so long. This idea is even hinted at when Hachi remarks that hearing Takumi say that Nana is in love with her gave her the courage to write that love letter. Takumi then does what all abusers do. They apologize, putting the victim in the unfair position of forgiving their abuser to placate their abuser's guilt. Hachi doesn't, however, forgive him. Not after the first assault, and not after the second. She does exactly what Nana does with Ren. She shrugs off the violence inflicted upon her body and carries on as usual. But Takumi's assault gets him what he wants. The shame and embarrassment of becoming his victim binds Hachi to him. Takumi tries to get Hachi to say that she won't leave him. He tries to make her complicit in the abuse by saying that he's not angry with her anymore because of the assault, so she shouldn't move out of their home in Shirogane. When Hachi doesn't answer him, he oh so subtly tries to bend Hachi to his will by noting that if she did leave him, she wouldn't have any money and would have to face the shame of explaining to her parents why she left the relationship. He then asks if she's going to go back to Nobu, twisting the knife by bringing up her past indiscretion. But Hachi holds strong. She refuses to let Takumi manipulate her and says she's spending the night with Nana and she will answer his questions when she's had time to think about it. And I think Hachi deserves a round of applause. We see Hachi becoming not a victim, but a survivor, and it warms my stone-cold heart that it's her relationship with Nana that's giving her the strength to survive. Hachi returns to Nana's room, but it's Nobu who answers the door. Nobu is there with Yuri, both of whom are keeping Nana company as she avoids Ren. Yuri is in the bathroom getting ready for bed while Nobu is getting drunk with Nana. Nana starts to sing Uta Hime by Mayuki Nakajima as Hachi and Nobu clear the air about the night he found out she was pregnant. The lyrics that accompany this scene describe a woman trying to hide her sorrow and pain because revealing that sadness would distance her from the people she cares about. Which, no shade, I'm sure a lot of heterosexual musicians feel this way about their music. But if we interpret this through a sapphic lens, this scene depicts Nana expressing her feelings for Hachi through her music, which is something we know she does.
This gave voice to my innermost desires. I sing only for myself. Always have, always will.
Going deeper, we might interpret the lyrics as a woman who is unable to openly express her sexuality because it will cause distance in her relationships, which makes her feel incredibly lonely. And just like the lyrics in Uta Hime, Nana is literally doing exactly what the song describes by expressing her true self in the only way she can. Through music. I'm not a total fool. You could twist the lyrics of Uta Hime to reflect the distance between Hachi and Nobu. However, when Nana worries that Hachi isn't listening, she makes this face, which is just, it's so damn cute, but it also implies that Nana is worried Hachi isn't paying attention to the finer details of her heartfelt confession. Especially since Nana is literally spending the night of her engagement party singing to Hachi about her fears and her loneliness and expressing her true emotions. Even when Nobu leaves with Yuri, Nana keeps singing to Hachi. She sings and sings and sings until she falls asleep. Hachi climbs into bed with her, and as she drifts off to sleep, Hachi rationalizes that she should make up with Takumi. Not because she loves Takumi or feels indebted to his financial security, but because if she went back to apartment 707 now, she would feel like she's taking advantage of Nobu, Yasu, Shin, and Nana's kindness. And if she did that, she wouldn't grow. It should go without saying that allowing people to be kind to you isn't taking advantage. Rather, when Hachi surrounds herself with people who like her for her, flaws and all, and don't expect anything from her except the pleasure of her company, she feels guilty of sharing in that joy. Hachi doesn't feel like she deserves happiness because she chose to be with Takumi in her moment of weakness. So she goes back to him. Which I know is disappointing, but just because Hachi has made a flawed decision doesn't mean she hasn't experienced growth. We've seen her come to some painful realizations about Takumi and stand her ground against Takumi when it comes to spending time with Nana. And this will mark the first in a very long line of moments where Hachi's desire to live with Nana in apartment 707 tempts her to leave Takumi. The next morning, Hachi hopes she and Nana will spend more time together because Nana will need her help planning her marriage to Ren. However, as they go their separate ways and Nana fails to ask Hachi for help, Hachi feels that their love is one-sided. What Hachi fails to recognize is that the reason Nana isn't asking her for help is because their love is very much two-sided. It's just that Nana isn't in any rush to be marrying Ren. This makes it the perfect time for Takumi to appear and tell Hachi he loves her, which is baffling that all this time he never once told Hachi he loves her. We know this is Hachi's kryptonite. Because Hachi can't seem to love herself, she searches for validation that she's lovable through romantic relationships. But because Takumi views relationships as transactional, he tells Hachi he loves her literally after he asks her to break up Shin and Reira. This love confession also butters Hachi up for when her family comes to visit. Takumi breaks it to Hachi's family that they have to postpone the wedding. Weirdly enough, everyone is cool with this. Hachi's father says it's not Takumi's fault they had to postpone. Nami says she respects him for sacrificing his wedding so Nana and Ren can get theirs. And Hachi's mom remarks how sincere and kind Takumi is and how happy she is knowing her daughter is always smiling in this beautiful home. Takumi and Hachi make expressions eerily similar to the faces Nana and Ren made when the president of Gaia Records said their love was an inspiration. But even though Hachi literally swallows a laugh that seems to stress Takumi out, Hachi doesn't try to correct her family's perception. Since Takumi dropped the love bomb on her and wiggled out of work to spend time with her at home, she's happy today. Hachi says that tomorrow she might cry, but as long as she clings to hope, the next day might bring about another smile. This is what medical professionals call a huge bummer. Hachi has adjusted to the tempestuous dynamic of her and Takumi's relationship and is taking it day by day, knowing that some days he will make her cry and other days he will make her smile. What Takumi is doing is classic love bombing. Abusers do it to emotionally manipulate their victims by bestowing them with an excessive amount of attention, affection, even gifts to control their behavior, usually after a fight or an instance of abuse in an attempt to gloss over their unsavory behavior. All of which apply to Takumi after his unforgivable behavior at the party. Switching over to Nana Osaki, we see her and Blast promoting their new single. During one of their promotions at a radio station in Osaka, Nobu and Shin see a drop-dead gorgeous woman sneak into Yasu's bedroom. This woman is Shion, a former flame of Yasu's. Although Nana is aware that Yasu and Shion used to hook up, Nobu and Shin decide not to tell Nana they saw Shion going into his room. The implication being that Shin and Nobu believe Nana and Yasu are actually in love with each other. Whether or not that's true is up to interpretation by the reader. But what I find notable is how everyone wants to believe in Nana and Ren's relationship so much that they don't want to exacerbate any tensions Nana might have about the union. These people clearly see that Nana is looking for the abort button and are hiding it from her because they want to see a happy ending, even if it isn't a happy ending for her. But we come to learn that Nana isn't the only one having doubts about her impending marriage. Ren and Reira go for an impromptu trip back to their small town by the sea. During this trip, Ren reveals that the reason he proposed to Nana was to drive Yasu out of her heart, and that he would actually be happy if Nana stopped singing and devoted herself to him. And we have seen how Nana and Yasu interact with each other. Nana and Yasu's relationship really exists in the same sphere as Ren and Reira's relationship. Years ago, in the past, there was a superficial attraction,
but that's when she was in high school, and man, did she look cute in that uniform. I was gonna ask her out, but Yasu got to her first. Too bad.
Oh, yeah?
But they formed a strong friendship and have pursued romantic relationships with other people. Nana is with Ren, Reira is in a deeply problematic love triangle with Shin and Takumi, and Yasu, at this point in the story, has begun a flirtation with Miyu, a 27-year-old no-name actress who is signed to their agency and lives at the dorms.
It's a living hell.
Yet, despite Ren knowing Yasu won't make a move on Nana, despite Nana never giving Ren a reason to believe she would cheat on him, Ren is so paranoid something is going on between them that he seeks to control Nana with legal documents that make her his in the eyes of the law, i.e., marriage. Despite Ren acknowledging how terrible this is and how pathetic it makes him feel, Ren, in his own words, without any pretext or motive, reveals that he has fantasies about killing Nana so she will belong to him forever, which gives a very scary context to the scenes where he is literally strangling Nana during sex and tells her that he may very well kill her one day. Even though Ren has enough awareness to know there's something wrong with him for having these thoughts and even asks for someone to kill him, Ren's confession to Reira is especially concerning since he's been hiding a cocaine addiction. It's something alluded to when Yasu confronts Ren in the bathroom before the musical variety show, and is solidified during the engagement/birthday party when Narita, the president of Cookie Music, slips Ren a baggie containing a white powdery substance, which Ren self-administers. I sympathize for Ren. Substance abuse is really serious and incredibly sad. But I'm also deeply concerned for Nana. A partner struggling with a secret cocaine addiction fueled with paranoid insecurities that you're going to cheat on them who isn't supportive of your career and fantasizes about killing you is a very bad dynamic, to say the least. Reira embraces Ren. Because of the aggressive amount of snow, they spend the night together at Ren's old apartment. It's totally platonic. Ren passes out and Reira stays up all night drinking and reminiscing about Yasu. Speaking of Yasu, our Machiavellian Buddhist monk senses discord in Nana and Ren's relationship. All the telltale signs are there. Ren has become withdrawn and Nana is leaning on him more and more for emotional support. Despite Yasu previously telling Nana that she isn't a burden on him, Yasu seems to have changed his mind because he devises an elaborate plan to relieve himself of Nana's burdensome anxieties. Yasu asks Miyu to come to his hotel room for breakfast in the morning. That way, when Nana comes crying to him about her hangover, Nana will see Miyu, the implication being that Nana will think that Yasu and Miyu are having breakfast the morning after bumping uglies. It is not lost on me that Yasu wants Nana to rely more on Ren for emotional support, to marry him, and to live with him. Which is totally fair because ideally, the person you intend to marry should be the person you feel most emotionally and psychologically connected to. I also think it's fair for Yasu to set boundaries in his relationship with Nana. However, Yasu goes about establishing those boundaries in the most high school-ass way possible.
Since not going out with Taylor. No, he cannot blow you off like that. He's such a little skis. Give me your phone. Hello? Hello, may I please speak to Taylor Waddell?
She's not home yet. Who's calling?
Oh, this is Susan from Planned Parenthood. I have her test results. If you could have her give me a call as soon as she can. It's urgent. Thank you.
For Yasu to live up to his mature and logical status, we might have seen him sit Nana down and tell her that he's grateful for their friendship and he will be there to support her. But he's uncomfortable with how emotionally intimate things are between them and would prefer if she didn't treat him like her personal psychologist because he's unequipped to help her in the way she needs help. Instead, Yasu uses Miyu, who is totally oblivious to his intentions, to tell Nana without actually telling her that she can't keep using him to fill the emotional patches in her relationship with Ren. And what sucks is that it works. Nana is clearly bothered by the idea that Yasu is hooking up with Miyu. The reason behind the jealousy is never established. Is Nana jealous Yasu is sleeping with Miyu and not her? Or since Nana has consistently referred to Yasu as a protective big brother, is her jealousy more in line with a younger sibling concerned about their sibling dynamic shifting now that there's a third party who will love them in ways they cannot? Whatever your interpretation, the result is the same. Nana stops dragging her feet about marrying Ren and starts the paperwork. Because as much as she would love to have Yasu hold her hand throughout life's many challenges, Nana slowly starts to accept that she's all on her own. She separates herself from Yasu, even asking that they don't do interviews together. As for Yasu, despite manipulating Miyu to help him manipulate Nana, Yasu is attracted to Miyu and they start officially dating. But Yasu's efforts to get Nana to rely more on Ren emotionally are shot to hell when Nana is given an engagement present by the paparazzi. It turns out that Ren and Reira weren't alone when they went on their little road trip back home. The paparazzi followed Ren and Reira believing they were having an affair since Trapnest's latest single has been interpreted as Reira having an affair with a married man.
What kind of innocent love song is this? If you ask me, it sounds more like it's about an affair.
Oh yeah, because there's no ring, right?
Yeah, but it could also mean that the guy has a ring on his finger.
Although Ren isn't technically married to Nana and he and Reira aren't having an affair, the paparazzi snap a photo of the two bandmates embracing one another in a, familiar way that gives new context to the rumors. This quite understandably upsets Nana. When Yasu tries to console her, she tells him to stop invading her heart with his kindness, to which Yasu retorts by telling Nana to stop crying in front of him, which, is kinda shitty since Nana is at least telling Yasu, with her words, that she doesn't want him to console her because it's crossing boundaries in their friendship. On the flip side, Yasu is telling Nana to not express her feelings in front of him when something is justifiably upsetting. But the paparazzi photos aren't just Nana's issue. Cookie Music also received the photos, along with a threat that they will be published in the next issue of Search alongside a story about Ren and Reira having an affair. Despite it not being true, the scandal would cause a huge dent in Trapnest's popularity and Ren and Reira's likability. So, Takumi and the president of Cookie Music, Narita, make their way to the offices of Search to cut a deal. In exchange for the photos, Takumi lies and sells them a story about how he got secretly married. He also slides in the hot goss that Hachi is pregnant. Takumi does this because, just like with everything else he does, he is looking out for himself. Although Cookie Music didn't want Ren and Takumi to get married back to back, Takumi now has to marry Hachi for the sake of saving Trapness from a publicity nightmare that would impact his precious finances, public image, and position of power. Not only that, Takumi is able to control the narrative about him and Hachi. During the interview, Takumi reveals that, of course he and Hachi got close so fast because she was Nana Osaki's best friend and roommate, suggesting that Nana and Ren's relationship is solid and isn't a showmance because they're hanging out all the time, introducing each other to their friends, double dating. And in a twisted act of kindness, Takumi is able to protect Reira's reputation. It's revealed in Takumi's side story that Reira was the one beacon of positivity, of purity in his life. And Takumi has enough self-awareness to know that if he pursues a relationship with Reira, romantic or sexual, it would only lead to Reira hating him. So instead, Takumi makes music beautiful enough for Reira so she can become a professional singer, since she's not good for anything else. Not my words, literally hers.
If I can't sing, I'm worthless.
It's a complicated relationship, but it's a relationship that Takumi treasures, which is why he keeps himself so married to the success of Trap Nest, so he can make Reira shine. But I digress. Takumi comes to Hachi in the middle of the night, drags her out of their home, and marries her like they need to flee the country. This marriage is about as far away as Hachi can get from the elegant formal wedding where she would serve not just one, but 2 wedding dresses. There are no guests, no friends, no family present. But Hachi feels so rushed by Takumi, especially since he tells her that Search found out about them, though Takumi doesn't reveal he was the one who sold Hachi out to keep Reira and Ren out of the press. Hachi is made to feel like she has to jump at this chance to get married before it's suddenly off the table. Or worse, revealed publicly they are not actually married, which might make getting married down the line even more difficult. And so, Nana Komatsu becomes Nana Ichinoce. Meanwhile, Nana Osaki keeps her emotional distance from Yasu, but since she suspects he has a hand in squashing the story, she asks Yasu why the story about Ren and Reira hasn't been published. Yasu dodges and deflects the question like Neo in the fucking Matrix and tells Nana to ask Ren herself, but Nana says she plans to confront Ren about it the next time she sees him. She quips that she needs to look Ren in the eye to know if he's lying about Reira, and that the reason she can never tell if Yasu is lying is because he won't take his glasses off. Nana arrives back at the agency's dorms and needs to literally be dragged to the hotel Gaia has rented out for her and Ren. As readers, we know that Ren is aware of the paparazzi photos and the deal Takumi had to cut to make the story disappear. What Ren doesn't know is that Nana also knows about the photos. When Nana walks into the hotel room, she has Shin by her side. Partially because Shin wanted to see Ren, but also because Nana didn't want to be alone with Ren. There must be love in the air because Ren seems to have had the same idea, since he brought Hachi along to help lubricate their awkward reunion. Shin and Ren waste no time jumping each other, to which Nana remains indifferent. But the energy in the room shifts when she is treated to some surprising news. Hachi reveals she and Takumi got married. Nana looks thrilled. Nana seems to have taken a page out of Yasu's playbook and keeps her sunglasses on indoors, the wall of reflective plastic making it difficult to get a read on her emotions. But there is no ambiguity in her emotions when Hachi relates that the reason she got married to Takumi was because Search had dug up their relationship. Nana worries about Hachi's safety now that it will become public knowledge that Hachi is her best friend and married to a member of Trap Nest, fearful that Hachi will endure harassment from disgruntled fans in the media. Nana also takes a jab at Ren, letting it slip that she knows there was some other piece of big celebrity gossip that was supposed to be published, but mysteriously got squashed. Hachi thanks Nana for her concern and then skips off home to Takumi, or to an empty house because Takumi has gone off to have an affair. The instant Hachi leaves, all the loneliness and frustration and anger Nana has been holding on to comes at her in a flood. She ices Ren out when he inquires what she knows about the Search article, which only confirms to her that Ren was okay with throwing Hachi under the bus to save himself and Reira from being exposed. Nana locks herself in the bathroom and feels totally cut off from everyone in her life. Ren has betrayed her trust, Hachi is married to Takumi, and Yasu doesn't want her confiding in him anymore. Ren tries to explain that he and Reira are not hooking up, that they just went home together on their day off and are just friends. But Ren isn't telling Nana the whole story. Nana spits out that they were holding each other in the snow in a scene that very much echoes the night Ren first kissed Nana on that same spot on the breakwater. Ren stumbles in his response because Nana has caught him in a lie of omission, and even though Ren is truthful when he says he and Reira are just friends and aren't having an affair, the way he keeps omitting things only continues to make Nana doubt Ren's explanation about how the photos were taken at an opportunistic time as he held Reira up on the seawall. As flashbacks of Ren leaving for Tokyo invade Nana's mind, we recognize that the thing that has Nana so upset is how Ren constantly picks Trap Nest over Blast, or more pointedly, how Nana feels that Ren keeps picking Reira over her. And we know that Ren's preference to play music for Reira is a greater betrayal to Nana than if he actually had sex with her.
I was hostile towards Trap Nest because I was jealous of Reira. She stole Ren's heart. Not romantically, but as a lead singer.
In fact, Nana has said multiple times that she wishes that Ren would sleep with someone else.
Hey, how come you're on the pill again?
Someone's got to be responsible. You want a kid that bad? Go find yourself another womb.
You wouldn't mind me sleeping with someone else? I'm gonna write a song for the lovely Reira.
When it's cold outside, I can't help but pray that someone is there keeping me warm. I haven't been with Ren for a month. He's got to be sleeping with other women by now. Not that I care. I'd actually be relieved.
For Nana, sex is supposed to symbolize the ultimate expression of love, two people becoming one.
When I was a kid, I thought no one would ever love me. So that winter when I was 16 and had sex with Ren for the first time, I thought I was having the most unbelievable dream. It didn't feel real. To be loved by the man I was in love with, that was a miracle for me.
And she's not wrong, that is one of the many reasons why we have sex. But Nana's idealistic philosophy about sex conflicts with how, whenever she has sex with Ren, Nana describes feeling like she's trapped.
Ren was a glamorous, bright light shining into my boring, mundane world. But no matter how hard I tried, he always seemed to be out of my reach. He nearly did kill me. And then he took me to heaven with him. I guess I'm a pervert too.
So now, how do I control your heat?
You can't. If there is a way, show me how. Somebody, please help me. Why does this happen to me? Why does my heart burn so hot?
What I personally suspect is that because Nana associates sex as being the thing that binds two people's fates together, Ren sleeping with someone else would affirm to her that he's in love with someone else, leaving her free. So here in this moment, when it wouldn't be unreasonable for Nana to believe that Ren is having an affair with Reira, we see that Nana isn't actually upset at the notion of Ren having an affair with Reira. What's so devastating to Nana is that Ren supports Reira's career as a professional musician. Nana snaps, screaming that she only wants him to write songs for her, which, yes, is petty and small, but here's the thing. What this whole fiasco reveals is that Ren cares about how the media and the public perceives Reira. Ren cares about the success of Trap Nest, which is totally fair. Trap Nest is literally his livelihood, so any strike against Reira, Takumi, or Naoki will impact his success. But when it comes to supporting the woman he supposedly loves...
Let's not forget that you ditched your girlfriend in your old band, then you sold your soul for success. Even though I'm the one who bought it.
Huh? My soul?
You were the full-on punk rocker. You were that cool rebel playing whatever you wanted in little dive bars all over town. Well, I mean, you're still cool now, just in a mainstream way.
Paparazzi have been following those guys. Even Naoki knows about it, so it's gotta be bad.
But I'm sure it's fine. Ren wouldn't come if he thought it was too risky.
Listen, Ren has no idea how much damage a scandal can cause. He never even told me he was being followed. He just kept asking me to come over to his place.
The truth is, he only thinks about himself. I don't want to get the media's attention as only Ren's girl.
I know it's impossible. But sometimes, I really wish that Nana was mine. It's like I want her all for myself. That way I could just slip her into my jacket pocket and take her with me to live in Tokyo.
Nah, she'd never fit in your pocket.
Feel so still like you, just as.
All this anxiety and change and feelings of being abandoned first by Yasu, then by Hachi, and now Ren trigger another attack. Nana is unable to catch her breath and staggers out of the bath. She unlocks the door and falls over, gasping for breath. Ren finally sees how his thoughtless actions affect Nana. He remembers Yasu telling him how to help Nana during these attacks, and that he needs to get it together and be there for her. Ren gives Nana mouth-to-mouth, hoping that he won't be the one to kill Nana, but the one who will save her. This is the second time Nana has had a panic attack. The first attack came when Nana feared she would never get Hachi back and forever lose their connection.
Besides, why do I want to help keep her around just for you when I've totally given up on her? So you do whatever you feel like you have to, but leave me out of it.
So, what are we fighting for then? That's a dumb question. We're fighting because we want to get our music out there and be recognized as a real band. Hachi has nothing to do with it.
Nana?
But then, how can I stay connected to Hachi? There's gotta be a way. I know I can't go back to that apartment, and even if I did, she's not gonna be there.
And now, this second attack occurs when Nana fears she has lost all sense of connection in her life. And although Ren tries to be her knight in shining armor, the next few chapters will reveal that Ren is, unfortunately, not up to the task of saving Nana. The next chapter opens with Nana and Ren checking out the gorgeous apartment Cookie Music and Gaia Records arranged for the two lovebirds to nest. But a honeymoon stage this is not. Ren has to split because work, even though the president of his label is literally there in the room, leaving Nana to finish touring their home all by her lonesome. Later that night, the Honjo Osaki clan fill out their marriage forms and Ren makes a stunning proclamation. He says that marriage doesn't mean a lot to him and acknowledges how he pushed marriage on Nana for his own personal gains. Ren then says he will leave if that's what Nana wants. And okay, I want to give Ren credit here because he is trying to do the right thing. He is communicating his expectations for the relationship and acknowledging some of the pain he put Nana through. Okay, great, but Ren, buddy, you sure picked an interesting time to bring all this up. I mean, this conversation is better late than never, but Ren is kinda springing the possibility of doing away with the marriage bullshit and even ending their relationship during a moment when he knows Nana is especially vulnerable. Just like when he told Nana he was leaving for Tokyo and Trap Nest, Ren picks a moment of emotional intimacy to test Nana's conviction in their relationship. Nana has lost Hachi with her marriage to Takumi. She lost Yasu as her emotional support buddy. She and Ren just had this huge blowout about his relationship with Reira that resulted in Nana hyperventilating. And seconds ago, they were talking about how Nana has spent all her life being alone because she was abandoned by her mother and neglected by her grandmother. Nana says she wants to be with Ren. And I don't doubt that's true. Nana does want to be with Ren because, really, she doesn't have any friends or family. Hachi has Takumi, Yasu is with Miyu, Nobu is dating Yuri, Shin is running off to do things. Her mom and dad have been out of the picture for years. Even the fate of her music career is in flux. All Nana has is Ren. Without him, she would be totally alone. So I get why Nana says she wants to be with Ren, but I don't think it's coming purely from a place of love as much as it is fear of being alone and grappling to hold on to some kind of stability, which unfortunately is her historically unstable relationship with Ren. In the next chapter, we see that Nana is irritable, more so than usual. Though she says she knows the reason why, she keeps that information to herself. Nana isn't interested in returning to her new home because even though Ren is waiting for her and he is leaving for another Trap Nest trip to England the next day, she knows that Ren will make her cook for him, hinting that perhaps Ren's promise to consider her needs from now on were empty. Nana opts for a karaoke night that becomes slightly less appealing when Ren is also invited. It is during this karaoke night that Yasu invites Miyu, and Ren's like, "Wow bro, you have a really cute girlfriend, so that must mean you've given up on Reira and Nana." But in all seriousness, Ren does step up and tell Yasu he's going to do something about Nana and that he won't let Yasu take her. Within the last few pages, Ren has made some lofty promises to dedicate himself to Nana's happiness. So let's see how he puts that into practice. The next morning, Nana and Ren are seated at their breakfast table. Ren tells Nana how much he likes the miso soup she made, which confirms Nana's previous statement about Ren making her cook for him true. Nana replies, "Thanks, but that doesn't make me happy." Ren responds to her sass by saying, "Would you be happy if I left Trapnest and didn't go back to London? Would you be happy if Hachiko got an abortion and broke up with Takumi? Would you be happy if Yasu stayed single and by your side for the rest of your life?" Right, let's back up a bit. Ren constantly praises Nana on things she doesn't value, specifically her abilities as a homemaker, even when Ren knows that Nana has zero interest in being his house spouse. Nana has articulated, or has attempted to articulate before he does the deflect with sex technique, that she doesn't enjoy being his little wifey. She doesn't enjoy making him dinner, she doesn't enjoy waiting for him to come home from a long day at work, she doesn't enjoy keeping the apartment clean, and she doesn't want to have his children. What Nana does want is Ren's approval about her musical abilities, something that has eluded her in their relationship because Ren hasn't exactly been supportive of Nana's singing career. Like, yeah, he asked her to sing in Blast back in the day, but it wasn't because he thought she was some great, talented singer.
Nobu, have you ever gone to karaoke with her? Huh? Can she sing?
Yeah, she's decent.
Ren had never even heard Nana sing when he asked her to play in Blast. He thought she was a total babe and then taught her to sing in a way that complemented his playing style. Ren then dumped Blast for Trapnest, which, fine, he chose the path that would further his career. Fine. Well, the way he went about all of that isn't fine, but we're not going to rehash all of that.
Nana, I'm going to Tokyo, so you can live your life however you want.
But because Ren stays silent and does nothing when the media starts the Blast bashing, because he shows very little interest in what she's doing with Blast, because he doesn't share any enthusiasm about her career milestones, like her first single getting released, or because he doesn't do something as simple as complimenting Nana's singing abilities, Ren doesn't need to say anything to get his point across. And your silence speaks volumes when you stand idle as the person you have selected to be your chosen other becomes the subject of a national lynching simply because they are dating you, a much more famous male celebrity.
We are in front of the home of Ren Honjo from Trapnest. The person at the center of this controversy still has yet to make an appearance, and moments ago, his agency refused to make any comments regarding the situation, which only seems to add more fuel to the rumor that this is a publicity stunt on the part of Blast.
And I know some will argue that Ren didn't stick up for Nana because...
Mr. Honjo? Don't you want to try to help your girlfriend out and give the media a piece of your mind? Because if you want to stay and fight, I won't stop you.
Well, the problem is my girlfriend has a lot of pride. If I try to defend her in public, I know what will happen. She's gonna be totally miserable.
Are you serious? I find that hard to believe. Why do you always just do whatever the agency tells you to?
No, trust me, she's really like that.
But we are later shown through Nana's POV that Ren's silence was actually pretty hurtful.
When I turned on the TV, I saw Ren swarmed by paparazzi on all the talk shows. He was being rushed silently through the lobby at Narita Airport. It made me feel kind of left behind and abandoned again.
This lack of interest in the other's music career goes both ways. Nana doesn't show much, if any, interest in Ren's progress with Trapnest. However, Ren isn't looking for any kind of musical validation from Nana. His needs in the relationship come from wanting Nana to be a traditional housewife and the mother of his children. And we do see that Nana makes efforts to be the type of woman Ren wants her to be, even though it makes her incredibly uncomfortable. And when Nana starts to resist, Ren will either deflect with sex or, as we see in this scene, berate her for not wanting the things that he wants. Just as a side note, I think it's totally fair for Ren to want a partner who wants to be a homemaker and mother to his children. It's just, Nana Osaki is not that partner, and Ren is painfully aware that Nana is not that partner. And while it's fair to be sad and even upset that your partner doesn't share the same vision for their future as you, It's not fair to impose your vision of how you believe your life should be lived by refusing to use contraception, nagging your partner for using contraception, by using sex to prevent your partner from expressing their concerns about the relationship, verbally harassing your partner for not sharing your desires, or choking them when they do not comply with your desires. In her inner monologue, Nana admits that, yes, selfishly, she does want Ren to quit Trap Nest, for Hachi to have an abortion, and for Yasu to stop dating Miyu and be by her side. And yeah, it's not great to want the people in your life to make choices that would fulfill your needs but make them miserable. But while we have seen Nana struggle to let go of her desires so the people she cares about can pursue their happiness, it's a struggle that Nana has, for the most part, kept internal. The greatest exception to this is when it comes to Nobu dating Hachi. But when Nobu asserts his boundaries, Nana is upset that Nobu doesn't bend to her desires, sure, but she does get over it and supports his choices.
It's okay to cry, Nobuo.
Huh?
Cry on my shoulder.
What are you doing?
Don't be embarrassed. Come on, we're good friends, aren't we?
But people are staring.
Let them stare. You're too short to be acting cool anyway.
Don't call me short. At least I'm taller than you are.
I know that, and I also know that your heart is 10 times bigger than mine could ever be. Before I knew you, I hated everyone and everything. I couldn't trust a single person. Then I met you, and for the first time, I thought this world wasn't such a bad place. Nobu, you are not irresponsible. Don't get down on yourself because a girl ditched you.
Your spikes are digging into my neck.
Something that Ren, Takumi, hell, even Yasu can't quite grasp. However, both Nana and Ren acknowledge that that's not really the issue. What the issue is remains ambiguous, but we've been reading for 58 chapters, and what I've noticed is that these two, they don't really love each other. Not in the Hearts and Flowers Jane Austen Nicholas Sparks sense of romance. Nana and Ren love each other more out of what the other represents to them, not the person they actually are. Ren says he loves Nana, but he wants her to quit singing, which we know is not only a huge part of Nana's identity, but the one way she feels she can truly express herself.
And if I can't sing, I have no future.
And we know Nana has been looking for a way out of her relationship with Ren for a long time.
Let me go. I didn't come here to get back together with you.
I missed you so much.
But stays with him out of a melange of obligation, fear of being alone, pressure from work and friends, and trauma bonding. And maybe the biggest issue in the relationship is that Nana is in love with someone else, and it's becoming difficult for both parties to ignore this change in Nana. Ren tries to articulate the issues that he perceives in the relationship. I'm not happy having you wait for me at home making me miso soup. It only works if that's what you want and you're happy with that. Even if I made you, I just feel empty inside. Which, okay, it's a step in the right direction for Ren to explain to Nana that he isn't happy with Nana playing the perfect house spouse if it's not something that she wants to do. Great. Snaps for Ren. However, while Ren is kinda half acknowledging that Nana does not like being his house spouse, Ren is still failing to acknowledge what makes Nana happy because he's talking about her unhappiness through the lens of his happiness. Which is why Nana breaks down and says she just wants to sing and she doesn't want kids and she doesn't want what he wants. During this rare moment of communication, it's clear that Nana can't respect Ren's #1 priority as Trap Nest, and Ren can't respect that Nana's priorities aren't centered on being a housewife and mother. Nana is suffering because she can't fulfill Ren's desires, which, was never her job in the first place, and she feels lonely because she can't have her desires fulfilled in this relationship. And although I think Nana has it way worse, Ren is also suffering because he sees how unhappy Nana is trying to fulfill his desires. They sit in silence. Nana and Ren are at an impasse. Clearly, neither of them are happy in the relationship, and neither are willing to sacrifice the life they want for themselves in order to satisfy the other. There is only one remedy to their unhappiness. They have to break up for good. Ren thanks her for the miso soup, and Nana emotionally flagellates herself for being a bad girlfriend because she should have made him an omelet with his soup. Which really bums me out because it really drives home how guilty Nana feels about not being the perfect house spouse and how that's the reason their relationship failed. Not because of anything Ren could have done. Ren is halfway out the door when he turns to Nana and makes a final request. Will she buy him a Jump magazine every week he's gone? Yep. After all this, after it is out in the open that these two cannot be happy together because they want very different things and that this relationship is not meant to be, Ren gives Nana an errand to run while he's busy with work, indicating the relationship isn't over and they're still ride or die. Nana gets a bad rap for being codependent and having abandonment issues, but unlike Ren, at least she was willing to accept they were donezo. But because Ren couldn't just walk through the door and leave, she remains emotionally and psychologically trapped in this dumpster fire of a relationship. In the wake of her emotional destruction, Nana comes to realize things are never going to change between her and Ren. So, like many individuals trapped in an unhealthy relationship, Nana looks for happiness outside of her significant other. Nana thinks of Hachi and the carefree, delicious breakfast they used to share. Tears well up in her eyes, and Nana resolves to spend some time with Hachi to improve her cooking skills. So, breaking this whole mess down, the tension in the scene is how Nana does not enjoy taking a domestic role in her relationship with Ren, but as we have seen before, Nana doesn't mind taking on domestic roles with Hachi. So, Nana hopes that if she spends more time with Hachi, even if it's learning skills she doesn't want to have, she might find some peace in her relationship with Ren. It's not a sexual affair, but it is an emotional one. So, hey there. You might have noticed that we're at the end of the video, yet we are nowhere close to the end of the manga. Well, that's because while I was editing this video, I realized that analyzing 42 chapters of manga was ambitious to say the least. So for my sanity, and so none of you have to sit through 2+ hours of my dumb voice, we are going to leave it here for now. But before we go, I want to circle back to the question I asked at the beginning of this video. Is NANA queerbait? Here's the thing. If you feel like you are being baited, that is valid, and I totally understand where you're coming from. This conversation is not for you. If you want a more academic, analytical answer, well, strap yourselves in, because baby, we ride. The biggest factor in determining whether a piece of media is queerbait is if we see our queer ship set sail by the end of the story, and if our queer pair don't end up together, is there at least some acknowledgement of their queer feelings? Or is their queerness abandoned, ignored, and erased? When we talk about queerbaiting in NANA, we are talking about a story that doesn't have a true ending, so we're working with inconclusive data, which means we need to work outside the Ditpo framework on what is and what isn't queerbaiting. I decided to end this video where I did because I wanted to illustrate that when we were talking about NANA and queerbaiting, we are also talking about two women who are in toxic, abusive relationships with powerful men while existing in a heteronormative, male-favored society. So while NANA is a story about how these two women have this intense connection and long to return to that golden summer where they live together in apartment 707, it's also about the obstacles they have to overcome to get the life they want. These obstacles aren't just societal expectations and pressures, but pressures from family, friends, and in NANA's case, pressures from work to stay in these heterosexual relationships because, on paper, NANA and Hachi are lucky to be with men who are talented, wealthy, famous, and attractive, if rockstar bad boys are your vibe. And I think NANA does a good job at showing us how hard it is to leave those relationships, even when your heart isn't in it and you know you have to leave. Or, if I may be so bold, when your heart is with someone else. Within this whole conversation about queerbaiting, I also think that we need to be careful about applying Western standards of good queer representation in the 2020s to a work created for a mainstream Japanese audience by a Japanese creator in the year 2000. I'm not saying this to invalidate any arguments that NANA is queerbait. Of course, queer media exists in Japan and queer people exist in Japan, but Japan, at the time of this recording, does not legally recognize same-sex marriages. What's more, even when it comes to heterosexual relationships, Japan remains much more conservative in how love is expressed than in Western culture, which is why symbolism and parsing through language and actions, I believe, holds just as much value as verbal confirmation when we look at queerness in Japanese media created for a mainstream audience. What I'm trying to get at, pretty inartfully, is that at the heart of this queerbait debate is the deeply uncomfortable question, how queer is queer enough? Which is why any answer to is not a queerbait comes with an unsatisfying answer. You're asking an academic question to an emotional response. So I think a more nuanced question needs to be asked. What if Aizawa reveals that the relationship between Hachi and Nana was only meant to be read as platonic? Would that change how you feel about Nana and Hachi's queerness? I'm of two thoughts on this one. Aizawa publicly denouncing the queerness in her series would definitely change my mind about Nana being queerbait. However, it won't change the queerness I see in these characters. Author intentionality is something to consider when we analyze a piece of media. On that particular note, when Aizawa was asked in an interview with Shoujo Beat, what do you ultimately want to achieve with this series? Do you simply want to entertain your readers, or is there a deeper meaning you want to convey? Aizawa answered, "In my work, making stories readers enjoy is the first thing I want to achieve. Of course, there is a basic message underlying the story, but I'm happy if at least some people understand that message." In that same interview with Shoujo B, Aizawa was asked what inspired her to create Nana. Aizawa said she was asked to create a title that could be accepted by a wider audience, so she came up with a story about two girls with the same name but totally different characteristics, believing that people would empathize with at least one of them. The vibe I get from reading Aizawa's work and the few interviews I've stumbled upon is that she seems to be a pretty open person and isn't so rigid on how her story should be interpreted. Her one true intention is for her readers to be entertained. Beyond that, she hopes to convey a basic underlying message through her story to a few understanding people, which I think is such a lovely gift to give her readers. Aizawa is giving us the permission to enjoy her work however it best pleases us. If we are going to get any confirmation of Nana and Hachi's queerness, I suspect it will be presented to us not unlike the way Yuri Katsuki and Victor Nikiforov's queerness is confirmed, which some might argue remains ambiguous because of the lack of verbal confirmation, while others say that no explicit verbal confirmation about their sexuality is needed because their actions scream with an authenticity words could never convey. When I read Nana, I feel that Nana Osaki and Nana Komatsu are two women at the beginning of their queer awakening, only for their queer awakening to be interrupted because they are trapped in toxic, controlling, and abusive relationships that are sanctioned and glorified by the society they live in. It's a queer story, not a particularly happy or romantic one, but I think it's a story that rings true. Particularly since the queerness of Nana and Hachi is acknowledged in the text by its characters.
She's so into Nana. I don't get it.
But she's so tough and protective of Nana that sometimes I wonder. Nana seems to be so totally obsessed with her, it wouldn't surprise me if there was something going on between them. Not that it makes any difference to me.
You want to do it with Hachiko?
And Nana and Hachi do acknowledge how their relationship steps outside the norms of simply being a friendship.
Looking back on it now, the way I felt about you, Nana, felt a lot like falling in love. With you, my life was full of sweet dreams. And it felt like the pure bliss of a first love.
You probably don't have a clue, do you? Everything you do blows me away, just like that typhoon. I feel like a teenage boy falling in love for the first time. I can't fight this anymore. I think I'm gonna burst.
Hey, Nana. If you and I were lovers, would we have been able to fill the emptiness by holding each other?
I'm sorry I couldn't keep my promise. You probably don't remember, but I was really serious about building that gorgeous house with a big yard. A house on a hill where you could see the sea. With a designer kitchen and a studio in the basement, and piles of clothes in your closet. All the latest fashions, of course. I'd be there waiting. So every time a boy made you cry, you could come back home and just smile.
Hey, Nana. That summer you longed for more than anyone? The one we couldn't get back? Well, it's here now. I'll always be waiting. For 10 years, 20 years, 50 years.
I guess why I've always gravitated toward Nana as a queer story is because it doesn't hinge on a person's sexuality being defined by a romantic relationship. Rather, it's about two women looking back on the golden summer of their lives and asking themselves, what if I stopped doubting myself? What if I embraced these feelings in my heart? What if I started over again? What if I stopped living in fear of myself? What if I stopped living in the shadow of my past mistakes? What if I had the courage to tell you all the things I didn't back then? And I think that Aizawa was planning on delivering answers to those questions in Nana's final pages, which is exactly what I intend to explore next time when we look at the end of Nana. So until then, my beautiful people, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time. If you want to stay in touch, you can find me and my kitty cats on Instagram. Bye!